Enterprises. Miscellaneous.
How's it going, everybody? Ragiroth here. So lately, Persona has been popping up like everywhere. Namely, Persona 5, of course, because it's the most recent one. We got Joker in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. He's the latest DLC character in that. Then even though this kind of came out in Japan, it's coming out in America very soon. Persona Q2. Then they recently announced Persona 5 Royal, which is kind of like Persona 4 Golden, but for Persona 5, of course. And then we also had Persona 5 Scramble, I think, or the Scramble, I forget what it's called, coming out for Nintendo Switch and PS4. Persona 5 the Royal, and even more so Scramble, there's been kind of, I guess, mixed reception on that, mainly because it's like Royal, you know, a lot of people that already kind of had Persona 5 were hoping whatever they would add could just be a DLC expansion, but now they have to buy a whole new game, and I wasn't totally happy about that. At first, I did finally just beat Persona 5 upon recommendation, and I'm a little more okay with it because it's like, now I can appreciate the game more now when I play it. And I also don't have to kind of tiptoe around spoilers and all that, which definitely feels very good. And hopefully maybe it won't be full price, but we don't really know for sure. And it's not going to be out till it's not going to be out in America until like 2020, I think. Unfortunately, they take so damn long with their localization. But then there's Persona 5 Scramble, which probably got the most, I guess, negativity, partially because of bad timing. A lot of people thought, because it was originally called P5S, but people were like, oh, it's going to be a Switch port, especially because I think there was like a rumor, some confirmation, there was some Persona 5 port coming for the Switch. So the timing with that was very bad, and it doesn't help, it's like a Dynasty Warriors game, and they have a fan base, but it's definitely a more divisive, I guess, game genre or game type, if you want to call it that. I know I was kind of lukewarm myself, because like, even though I probably wasn't going to get it for the Switch, I was hoping that Switch owners would at least get to play the game. Now, like, oh, I guess they're not going to be able to, at least not yet. And it's like, I was sort of hoping if there was going to be another new spin-off, it would be a fighting game. However, I guess the more I thought about it, I'm like, at least I'll actually get this game, first of all. And secondly, it's like, yeah, fighting it would be cool, but it's like, it would probably be made by Arc System Works. And as much as I love them, it would probably, every time they do like a first like spin-off game, it's always like a very limited roster and usually not much content and not much stuff to do. So I feel like at least with a Warriors game, the roster might be like a little bigger, and they also might support it longer post-launch. And I feel like there will just be a lot more to do, because like, Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors, they had a lot of stuff to do in the game. So I don't have to worry about that. So I guess the more I thought about it, the more I was kind of getting a little more excited for this. I know a lot of people are still kind of not too thrilled about it on the Switch port. I think it could still happen. Or maybe Persona 5 Royal is just going to get a Switch port at some point. They also might not call it anything special. It might just be called Persona 5. So I guess, like, since I've mostly been seeing people complain about Scramble, I figured, why don't I do something a little more positive about it? But yeah, so I wanted to kind of predict what I think the roster would be like. And also, I guess, some of my personal wish list. I don't think I'm going to do a top 10 list, because it's like, I honestly think a lot of this roster is kind of set in stone, especially if you kind of, look at Persona 5 and also look at some past spin-offs we got, like Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors. So yeah, I'm just going to do who I think will be in the game and a little bit of who I want. And like I said, I think this roster, most of it is kind of set in stone, but of course, I could be totally wrong. I should probably preface this. There's going to be some spoilers in this video. I'll try to mark where the spoilers would be, because I know a lot of people probably haven't beat Persona 5 because it's such a long game. So, alright, for the roster, I think these characters are like 100% in. Joker, obviously we've seen him, Morgana, Ryuji, Ann, Yusuke, Makoto, Haru, Akechi, and whoever this red-haired girl at the end of the trailer is. So yeah, I think most of these characters are main party members you get in the game. I'm not even going to talk about most of them. The one, might be slightly iffy is, so now Akechi, I know things didn't kind of go well too for him in the game, and he may be dead, and I know Atlus just loves to keep their spin-offs like with canon things and not, bring characters back to life. We didn't see his body, and we don't know what the shenanigans will happen in this game is, so I think at the very least this, I guess, light version or good version, whatever, of Akechi will probably be playable, especially because he was a party member. Like a party member that got to fight. So now the characters that I think are Less likely, but I think it still definitely happen. I think 𝙎𝙧𝙧𝙖 could probably happen. I know she's like just a support party member. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, granted it was the second game, they did make 𝙎𝙧𝙧𝙖 playable, who was kind of like, you know, it was basically the 𝙎𝙧𝙧 of that game, where she was like the support person. She never actually fought. She would just, you know, have a persona to give you health or tell you, oh, this is the enemy's weakness or something like that. And I feel like hers, because I feel like Koei Tecmo, they do generally have like kind of at least one kind of wacky moveset character. Like it would be Agatha in Hyrule Warriors Legends, and I guess either maybe Tiki or Ana in Fire Emblem Warriors. I feel like 𝙎𝙧𝙧𝙖 would be that character. I'm sure they can make it work somehow. I don't personally really want. I mean, I don't mind 𝙎𝙧𝙧𝙖. She's not someone I'm dying for. I wouldn't be like pissed if she was in, but she's not someone I'm gunning for. But I could see them making her playable. I just don't think she's as set in stone as some of these other characters. Okay, so now another spoiler one is Christine and Justine or Lavenza. Lavenza being the more spoiler one. I don't really know, because I feel like I would rather it just be Lavenza and maybe she kind of split apart for some attacks. But then again, they might not want to, you know, because sometimes they do like to not spoil things, and I guess Christine and Justin are more unique because they're like a couple. The one thing with them, they don't really use a persona, but I guess you do fight them and they do have attacks. I just think it'd be a little boring if you kind of played as a character like that didn't have a persona. But I mean, they've made Velvet Attendants playable in past games, like both Elizabeth and Margaret in Persona 4 Arena and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. So I could definitely see them doing with Christine. With Christine and Justine or Lavenza, they could use their like little prods, or Lavenza could use a lot of spells because she has that like book. So then next up is Kasumi from she's that new party member being added to Persona 5 Royal. I think she's definitely going to be in the game. I just don't know if she's going to be base roster or DLC, just because it's like I don't know the distance between these games coming out. We know Royal is coming out in Japan in like October. Scramble doesn't have a set release date. I'd imagine that'd be the fall, because I feel like, you know, that's always generally been the case. Usually they announce like a spin-off game like around, you know, kind of early, mid in the year, and they come out like kind of fall. That was the case with Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors. But like I do feel like they do want to put her in the game, and I could see them maybe kind of not having her moveset be as robust as all the stuff she would do in the game. You know, maybe they'd be afraid to put her in an Ultimate Persona because she'd still be kind of fresh and not everyone would have played Royal. I do hope that's not the case. I hope they kind of use her to her full potential. But yeah, I think she's definitely going to be in the game. I just don't know if it's going to be at the start or DLC. So then one more character that is from Persona 5 that I want to talk about is, I guess, very spoilers, is I guess Black Mask Akechi, if you want to call it that. I don't really know what the official term for that character, that version of him is. Again, I don't know if they'd want to have this because of spoilers, or because maybe if he did come back to life, he wouldn't, you know, have this version. Yeah, I'm just not sure if they'd make this version a separate playable character, or if it would kind of have him integrated in Akechi's moveset. I mean, I hope this version of Akechi's in. I mean, I like both versions. I'd much rather play as this version, especially because we never got to control it ourselves, and Loki is a really cool looking persona. I'd like to say it'll be integrated somehow. I just don't know if it'll be a moveset, costume, or a whole separate character. A whole separate character would be ideal, but at the same time, it would be a shame if he kind of took a spot from someone else and when it was just Akechi again. Alright, so now I feel like these characters are probably even less likely, but I think are still possible. One I think is, would probably be maybe one of the villains, would be Shadow's Makoto's sister. Because, I mean, she's one of the only characters that we saw I guess, shadow. She's the only characters that had, I guess, a shadow or palace that, I guess, you know, made it through Persona 5. You know, she didn't die or anything, she didn't go to jail. And I know it wouldn't make sense because they kind of, I guess, defeated her shadow, but maybe something happens and she either has access to it or kind of becomes distorted again. Or she can use it and maybe I guess she'll be controlled and won't be a bad guy. I don't know if it would be like, you know, kind of the normal sort of fancy casino lady version, or if it would be like kind of the more monstrous transformation she had. I mean, I wouldn't not mind if she was in the game. She was probably one of the coolest of, I guess, the shadow versions. I think, you know, her human version looked cool, and whatever she turned into looked sick as hell. So I wouldn't mind it. I don't think she's super likely, but I think it's possible. I guess also whoever the main villain of the game is, I don't know if it's going to be someone returning or someone new. If they have kind of a human form or human shaped form, I could see them maybe being playable. You know, I'm not sure though. Again, this is definitely a less likelier character, I'd say. They've been very stingy with villains being playable lately. I mean, the Hyrule Warriors, they were more lenient with it, but I know Fire Emblem Warriors, like, none of the villains were playable, which was kind of upsetting. So then, alright, now we are getting into, I guess, non-Persona 5 territory. I think probably the most likely character that is not from Persona 5 that could be in this game, I would say, is Yu Narukami from Persona 4. I mean, like, Persona 4 is, like, probably the biggest of the Persona games still. This guy is everywhere. It would be hard to believe they would kind of miss an opportunity not to have him in a game like this. I mean, I like you. I'm not dying for him to be in this game. I'm a little kind of over him at this point, but I could see him being in it. I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool to have him in a game like this. All right, next up is Makoto Yuki or Minato Arasato for Persona 3 protagonist. He's probably a bit less likelier than you. They're kind of afraid to use him in certain spin-offs, mainly because, again, big spoilers, at the end of Persona 3, he kind of dies. So, and then, you know, they don't want to bring characters back, they want to keep the game's canon, they don't want to cheapen the effect of Persona 3. I get that, it just really sucks that the main character of Persona 3 just never gets to be playable in these things. You know, with the exception of Persona Q and Persona 4, the Persona 3 dancing game, and like that's fine, but I want to see this guy in like a fully like non-turn-based action game like this. I just want to see him wreak havoc with Orpheus, Messiah, even Thanatos. Like, just come on, just let it happen. He is like, if there is a Fujin or if there is a Ridley of the Persona spin-offs, it is definitely Makoto. Because everybody wants him, but Atlas just doesn't want to do it. And it's not because he's not popular, it's not because they can't make him work. I guess they just can't make him work with the story, but it's like, I say just screw the story, in all honesty. Another possibility is, well, I could see them kind of chickening out of doing Makoto and instead putting in Aigis for Persona 3. I don't necessarily have a problem with this. I love Aigis. Aigis is awesome. I just think it's kind of dumb that, like, you know, you just can't put in a Persona 3 protagonist and, you know, you just kind of put in her instead. Because they do kind of use her as sort of, I guess, the main, sort of, I guess, the replacement main character for Persona 3. Like, Arena kind of did it, and of course the answer, the epilogue for the Persona 3 FES did it as well. And another possibility for Persona 3 is the female protagonist that was introduced in Persona Portable that is popular and is not dead. However, her problem is that she's technically not canon, so they can always do that. And, you know, we also don't really have a spear user at the Persona 5 cast. The only spear user we really have would be Ken from Persona 3. And as much as I like Ken, I don't know. I don't see them prioritizing him over some of these characters that I'm listing. But I mean, the thing is, the fact that they are putting her in Persona Q2, so I think that maybe does give some hope that you care about her, they want to acknowledge her, and maybe they put her in. And I should say, with characters like Makoto and her, and even like Yu Narukami and Aigis, here's the thing: like Fire Emblem Warriors, you had Lyn and Celica. They were the sole representatives from their games, and they weren't involved in the story at all. You unlocked them in the side mode. I forget what it is off the top of my head. The adventure mode equivalent, I guess, basically. You know, you had them; they were playable, and they weren't involved in the story. They were their own little thing. So I think that's a perfect way to kind of have Makoto in the game, and even the female protagonist from 3, and it not kind of, I guess, you know, question the canon. I hate that word so much. That the canon status of the female protagonist, or, you know, having to bring back Makoto from death. You know, and then Yu Narukami and Aigis, obviously. Hyrule Warriors had 13 characters at launch. Fire Emblem Warriors had like 22, 23. Now, you know, the main difference there is because Fire Emblem Warriors, like a lot of the characters were just clones. I don't really feel like a lot of these characters would be clones of each other. You know, they all mostly use different weapons. They all have different elements. They all have different elemental attacks. I think this roster would probably be, I'm going to say it's going to be between 13 to 15 characters. I could see them maybe pushing it a little past Hyrule Warriors, especially because, to be fair, Hyrule Warriors, they did have 3 characters that were added for free a little after post-launch. It was Volga, Sia, and Wizro. So, like, technically, I guess it did have 16, I guess, free characters, if you want to look at it that way. So yeah, I'm going to say it's going to have 12 to 16, it's going to have 13 to 16 characters. These characters 100%, and then some of them are less likely. I'm going to, I guess, I'm going to have them marked as more likely or less likely. Now, for my personal wish list, I would kind of want, I would say, all the playable party members. Then I would say Lavenza and Kasumi. I guess 𝙎𝙘𝙧𝙖, and then assuming Persona 3 would only get one character, definitely Makoto. I want him to get a goddamn shot on this game. My personal realistic wish list. Obviously, there's other characters from like 3 and 4 that I would want. Hell, there's some characters from the actual Shin Megami Tensei games I'd love, but let's be real, they're never going to happen. Atlus refuses to like acknowledge them in these spin-off games outside of like maybe costumes. It's sad, but I think I just kind of come to deal with it. Maybe they'll surprise us, but I'm not counting on it. Now, with Fire Emblem Warriors, we did get an okay amount of DLC characters. I think, I feel like this is probably where they would add more characters from like 3 and 4, or like maybe like 1 or 2 from 5, like Kasumi. But I think the main playable party cast will all be definitely playable. Only slightly iffy one is maybe Akechi, but I'm still more confident we will be than not be playable. I think that's about it for this video. I'm looking forward to seeing more details about this game. I'm trying to look at it more a little positively because it's got a lot of negativity, I think. And I'm guessing the next character you're gonna reveal is probably Ryuji or Morgana. I'm betting they'll probably reveal them in the order they join the party. But yeah, and I would also like to do a video talking about Persona 5 Royal. I'm not exactly sure what to talk about it with yet. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below if this prediction list is accurate, or I guess what characters you would want in the game. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my friend Mark Yoon in the description below as well. And thank you so much for checking out this video. And as I always say, another time, another place. Keep being awesome.